Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today I wanted to have a brief look at the new Linux voice models, voice AI models. These run locally on your device, and so they're not going out and putting your information out on the internet. And I wanted to go ahead and give a couple of these a try, and I saw two of them just come down the pipeline recently. One of those being Vocalinux, and the other one being the Speed of Sound, I believe it's called. We'll have a look at those now. I'm going to do this on my Lunduke system that we reviewed a little bit ago because it was already there, and I don't like doing experimental software on my main development systems. So we'll go ahead and use this. I wasn't a huge fan of the XFCE desktop environment, so I went ahead and installed Cinnamon, my favorite, but in pure Lunduke retro style. I went ahead and gave it a old retro Windows 95 type theme. So there you go. We have to keep that retro style for going to the Lunduke OS. So hopefully you enjoy that. But what I wanted to do here is I wanted to have a look at these. And the first one I wanted to look at was Speed of Sound. This one I was actually not able to get working. Now, it could just be the old desktop environment. Maybe it's just that we're running LibreX instead of X, or not Wayland, or whatever else the problem is. The problem seems to be it was having issues with the remote desktop. So it ties directly to any app via the XDG remote desktop portals. This says it supports X and Wayland. Now, there is actually it looks like I got rid of the extra pages. Cinnamon does support most of the XDG desktop portals, but I did actually manually install it and try to get it configured. After a good hour of work, I still could not get this to work. So if you already have that put together on your system, you know it works out well, this might be an option for you on Flatpak, especially since it's super easy to install on Flatpak. So go ahead and pull that up real quick. But again, the problem that I had is that it would just not work. So it tells me remote desktop portable is not supported. I went ahead and configured it. I followed several different guides on getting the RDP to work, and I just couldn't get it to work in this system. So I couldn't get that one to work. Now, there are a few other downsides of this, and that is that it only supports your main default microphone. There's no extra real settings. Here's what the preferences look like. Looks like there's a lot of preferences, but it's your language, your output, how's it going to work, things like that. Your model library, so you can install a number of different models. So the Whisper Tiny is already available. You can install some other ones as well. You can add API if you are doing some cloud-based stuff, so that's good. For those that want it, of course. I do not want to give any of my information to any of these cloud AI models. I want to do everything locally. Here's text models, so you can process it with some text models there as well. It doesn't see the option. Let's see. Does it have the option to do something local? Add provider. It looks like you can only add main commercial providers to that, not a local one. Here's your personalization stuff. So those are all of the settings that they have. This is available on FlatHub, meaning that as long as RDP is working in your system, this might actually be the better way to go. But in my case, that didn't actually work. Now, the second one I tried is Vocalinux. This one actually did work, and I was actually quite impressed with it. So what we're going to do is you can have a look over at vocalinux.com, and you can install it over here with this simple command. So you go ahead and run this curl command on your system. I ran this, and no problems at all. It went ahead and installed it. Gives you a couple different options based on your computer. I just chose kind of the basic defaults here. And you can choose your models. You can download additional ones. But what I like about this one is there are a number of different other settings, including setting which microphone it is listening for. So what we're going to do here is we'll have a look at that one. So once I start it up, you'll see it'll show up in your down here in your system, and then you can start voice typing. You can start this on login or not. I have it to not start on login. Here's your engine, so you can grab whichever one of your engines you want. Here's your model sizes. And it does come pre-installed with some, and I believe you can download a few other ones as well. So here's your tiny, fastest, and this is the lowest accuracy. Even with this, I was trying to talk into it for a good while just to see what you could do, what are the limitations. And it actually did work pretty well. So that's your engine. Here's your recognition, your silence timeout. So you do have to give it 2 seconds to stop before it goes ahead and starts actually doing your synthesis, so you can adjust that as you want. There's enable voice commands for punctuation and editing, so I did not play around with that one there. And then here is your basic test, so you can do that. As far as your audio here, you can choose which microphone it listens for. So, of course, we are recording this on my simple screen recorder, on my USB audio, and I have this actually set to just my web camera that's sitting here. So I went ahead and kept that on the web camera. And when I hit the test here, I didn't actually see anything that looked like, okay, maybe it is. All right. It wasn't doing that before. Okay. So there you go. There's your sound effects. And then here's your shortcuts. So you can double tap to start, stop. You can push to talk. So there's a button you can do a push to talk. And you can actually set which one that happens to be. So what is that? Was Ventrilo, right? You can set it up like Ventrilo. Maybe we should try that, shall we? Let's see, control either side. Let's see, custom shortcut to record. I should have played with this off camera. Let's just do control R. Does that work? Control R. Okay. So control R should start it. And let's see. All right, that looks good. And then you can start it at login or not. You can start at minimize. You can copy to the clipboard. And here is advanced settings. Oh boy, I know what I'm doing. I don't, but let's have a look. Here's timestamps, context, temperature, just a number of other things. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to turn that off. All right, so there is your settings there. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and boot up AbiWord, which comes pre-installed on Lunduke OS. And let's see if that control R works and if there's any notification on that. There it is. Look at that. All right, so you can see that it was listening and it went ahead and typed in what we typed in there. I'm going to turn it off for a second. I have no idea why I must have accidentally hit the left control or the left justify there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I actually have a copy of my Code Red book here, and I'm going to go ahead and read some of the Code Red and see how well this does. So we'll hit the keyword or my hot shortcut key. You'll see down here at the bottom this will turn on, indicating it's recording, and we'll go ahead and see how well this works. "Come on, son, I won't hurt you," Officer Johnson said with de-escalation in his voice. All right, so this one here, oh, let me turn that off. Okay, so what's happening here is the command that I hit for this is also the command to left justify text. So, all right, so let's delete that. So this is what it did. So the text here is, "Come on, son." And it said, "Command, son." "I don't hurt you." I said, "I won't hurt you." Officer Johnson said with de-escalation in his voice. It did get that last part right. It did not get the first part right. We'll go ahead and keep this here. Let me keep it over here. We'll turn this on. "No, I must see what's real," countered the strange young man, screaming at the top of his lungs. All right, so you can see here that I keep on hitting that justify key. I should have picked a different hotkey for that. All right, so this is the text, of course. No, I must know what's real. Of course, I wanted all caps indicating the kid is screaming. Now I must see what's real. And I did say that wrong. I must know. I said see, not know. So that was my mistake. And then countered the strange young man, kind of the strange young man screaming at the top of his lungs. So you can see it's doing a pretty good job. Maybe if we download one of the better models, it might work a little bit. But all my initial testing of this actually worked out really well. I wanted to see how long you can talk before it stops and gives up. And it was actually able to go a pretty long way. So I'm going to go ahead and read. Now, here's, of course, the downside. It's not going to get my paragraph breaks in here. But I'm going to go ahead and read for a good 30 seconds. You'll see that it does a pretty decent job. The officer lowered his voice, signaling more silence as he yells echoed to the far corners of the cemetery, being muffled only by the darkness setting in. You're not in any trouble, but we need to find out who you are. Do you have any ID? I have to find the truth, he yelled again. What truth? The officer asked. We can look for it together if you come with me. The truth about everything, the teenager said, finally collapsing in tears. All right, so you can see there that it typed this out. Let's go ahead and see. And I made a couple mistakes there. You guys can understand how doing those audiobooks I record are actually very difficult. You got to go in frequently and know when you make a mistake and redo it. So this is kind of fun. This is like reverse audiobook, right? I could record writing the book, and then I could just go through and edit the text. That'd be cool. Anyway, officer leaned his voice, signaling more silence. I said the officer lowered his voice, signaling more silence. As the yells echoed to the far corners, of the cemetery, being muffled only by the darkness setting in. So you can see for the most part, it's pretty accurate. I said you are not in trouble. Maybe I said you're not in trouble, but it did interpret as you're not really trouble, not in trouble. But we defend are who you are. I said we have to find out who you are. Do you have any ID? Got that part right. So you can see here that it's not doing too bad of a job, especially for the default install and just the one single simple model that we have. With the ability to install extra models, you could probably make this thing work out pretty well. You could set it up with some better, hold to records type features and some other things. So your sound of what was that other one? Speed of sound wasn't working well. In my particular setup here, the Vocalinux did work out quite well. And for the most part, it's pretty good. And so it is encouraging to see how far this is coming along. And this could actually be a good help for some people that want to use this to type in certain forms or stuff like that. And the good thing about this one is everything is all done and processed locally on your local computer without actually having to go out to the internet for anything. And that's definitely a good thing for the scope of privacy. So let me know your thoughts about this. Are you interested in using these types of things? What else might you want to use something like this for? Let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments down below.